As you were talking, I was thinking it just started repeating and echoing in my head was imposter syndrome, and I've struggled, many times with the imposter syndrome. I think I still struggle with it, but now it's almost like one of those. It's like a callus, right? Like I just know how to deal with it. I've built up a tolerance to it because it hits me all the time. You shouldn't be doing this. You can't do this. Other people have success in that area, but you'll never have success in this area. Why do my neighbors just had their driveway pressure washed yesterday. So their driveway is like bright white. It looks like a brand new driveway, right? Like they just poured the concrete. Mine is dirty. It's 15 years old and it's got grime growing on it. Not growing on it, but it's a used driveway. You can let little things like that sneak in, right? Like now I could run out and hire the same guy or somebody else to pressure wash my driveway, right? Do I need to do that? Does my driveway have to look like my neighbor's driveway? It's a silly little thing, but like all of these inputs are coming at us at lightning speed, right? You've just got input after input after input, and they're all competing for your attention and your response, right? So I think learning just that habit, right, of sitting back, taking a breath, being lots of leadership development tools talk about being the last person to speak, right? And it's a discipline thing, and I think you can apply not speaking, but this, be the last. Let your decision, your response, your reaction to something be the last something, right? Force yourself to be the last one to react, the last one to take the action. Not all the time, right? I mean, when we use this word urgency, I've actually done a training in my past life. Again, when I was in manufacturing, we did this whole thing about urgency and when it's good and when it's bad, and behaving with a sense of urgency. And again, many times that gets taken out of context, and there are absolutely situations. So hazmat response is something I used to be certified to do, and that's hazardous materials, right? So if you have a chemical that's spilled, people are dying potentially, and you have to respond. So you have to have that sense of urgency. It is literally a matter of life and death in those situations. So you have to take those actions, but you're prepared to take those actions. You're not operating from a position of being unprepared. You've done trainings for years in the unlikely event that one of these things might happen, right? So you're going in very prepared, and only the people that are prepared are allowed to take those actions and respond in those times of urgency. And so you can apply that to your life. Are you prepared when it comes time to change the tires on your car? Are you prepared to do the maintenance on your home? Are you prepared for Christmas? Are you prepared for your vacation? There's so many things that we know are going to happen, and I mentioned hazmat as sort of a life and death extreme situation. The reality is, in manufacturing, there are so many bad things that could potentially happen that it's just a matter of time before one of them happens. And so are you prepared for those events? And I think that's where the tortoise just keeps taking one step at a time toward the finish line, never deviating from that path. He knows that eventually he is going to cross that line. He is preparing with every single step to win the race. The hare doesn't. The hare takes breaks. The hare, gets distracted. The hare does whatever he wants because he just assumes that everything's going to work out fine. Right?
The hare is shooting from the hip.
Shooting from the hip.
That's what I'm hearing. What you're saying and what you're explaining. We can be prepared and act urgent and act quickly and swiftly, or we can shoot from the hip, not have a plan, and
to me, that's how it ties back into. You mentioned the budget, so we bring all this back to personal finance, right? And now we're gonna. It's off limits, right? We're talking about your money again. You can be prepared. You can prepare for all those situations. And then we've got that emergency fund. And that's the one that we find tends to be abused at times and really misunderstood. What is that emergency fund for? It is not for replacing tires on your car. It is not for replacing the air conditioner in your home. It is not for any of these things that you can predict. You can't predict the day and the time and the season and the location, but you know that these things are coming. You know that they're going to happen. So be prepared. Prepare yourself, set money aside, start funding these different accounts.